Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Good morning, traders, and welcome. And sorry about being quite late in here today. I could not make it until now. Anyway, we can get started and at least get maybe about I don't know, more than half an hour in of live analysis before having to stop. Anyway, we do this webinar every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Let's go through the disclosures and let's just jump right in. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And let's jump in. We're looking at the S&P E-mini. And what's happening in here? So, well, let's take a look here. So we'll go back to the demo, or the default levels here for the heat map, and we'll take a look here. Okay. All right. So, well, we can see that a few different data points in here. 8:30, we had a retail sales. We have the cash open here. Interesting cash open, really interesting. And a lot of selling up here, and then a beautiful squeeze to the upside into these higher levels up in 77, went up as high as around 88 or so. And then we also had the University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. We can see this pretty dramatic move to the downside now, to lows of the day now. Okay, so let's just take a look very simply here at market structure, and I'm gonna dim the heat map just for that purpose, just to make the point that in terms of market structure, what are we looking at here? Okay, well, we want to look at areas of consolidation and breakdowns and breakouts. So we have an area of consolidation here, and we have our breakout. Now, it came up, and you can look at also a range up here. And it broke out from there, and we can take even that range here, and then we see the breakdown. It retested back down into here, okay, and it is below it here. All right, so this is bearish market structure wise, no question. Now we're looking for more sellers to hit the bottom of the bid here, and they're just testing that right now. Now, can they move it? Do we see enough sellers here to trade not only into this liquidity but through it? And then we're looking for the move to 50 down here. Right now, I don't see the sellers. In fact, some selling just came in, but we see a little bit of buying in here. Now, be careful in here. We're talking about gaming these areas in here. It's not so straightforward. So these buyers in here, if we see more sellers now, we're looking for a stop run to the downside. So I would be looking for that. We just traded into this high liquidity here at 55. Now, for that to happen, we got to get more sellers here again at 55, and I'm looking for them to take it lower then. If we don't, in this scenario here, and we start to see more buyers, this is absorption here, well, then we're looking for a move back up to 58. Or maybe even 61 here, right? So this is really what we want to understand here. Now, like for example, these sellers in here, well, they're going to be buyers up in here, all right? That is the scenario that we're covering. Now, maybe it never happens. Maybe we just get more sellers here. That's another scenario. If so, we're looking for the move down to 50. Right? So it's these different scenarios that we want to ascertain, or we want to go through and cover, and then look for something that really kind of hits us over the head and saying, wow, now we have something in a setup. If we don't have something, then just don't take a decision, right? If it's unclear, why risk money on something that doesn't give us clarity? And that's one of the nice features that I think Bookmap can offer, is by understanding when to trade and when not to trade. Like down here, our scenario didn't really quite unfold. So, and then up here, did it really unfold? No, it didn't either, right? I don't really see anything yet. You know, I'm waiting and watching until I get more clarity on this level and down here around this 55. And you can see it's in a small little range between 55 and 57 right now. So anyway, that's kind of currently what we see here. And that's about it. Nothing more to kind of discuss. We do see some stops and icebergs, selling in this area here, and also stops to the downside. They're you know, sell stops being hit. All right. So anyway, that's kind of current market. Now let's zoom out though, and let's get our kind of bigger picture perspective and understanding here. And in fact, we're going to even take a bit bigger step back and look at our candlestick chart. There's been some really good price action lately. I feel, you know, we had a lot of data this week. We had the FOMC as well as the, well, we had non-farm on last Friday, but then we had CPI, we have retail sales, we had PPI, and then this consumer sentiment. But you know, that didn't, it actually had an effect on price quite a bit, but the CPI data numbers are huge. I mean, that really matters as an event. So anyway, we can see this move up from, you know, earlier in the week, some back and forth in here in this range here. This is the daily chart over here on the right hand side, and then we see a wick up here earlier. Well, we went up to that wick, broke it, traded right back down and closed into the range, went right back up on a strong day here yesterday, and then it closed at the highs up here. Look again up here today, above the wicks, back up into these wicks up here, which just means that there's no buyers up here, or there are sellers up here, or a combination of that. Whatever it is, we're not finding a move higher. It is rejecting above the range here, and we're back in the range here. Okay, so now what we want to understand is, well, where's it going to go? If we still see more sellers in here, then on this daily chart, I'd be looking for maybe the top of these wicks. Our 4150 area looks pretty good as just a starting point to test. Maybe it can come back down even further. Maybe it just retraces this whole big move and comes back down to 4120 or so down here. So let's look at the hourly chart here in the middle. And yeah, I would look for a kind of a bounce off of these little ranges. This one first, which it didn't really bounce, and then this one here next, which we do see a little bit of a bounce. Okay, so now let's just cover a scenario in here of what this might look like. Good morning, Rob. What this might look like. Good morning, Tony and Pedro, others. Again, my apologies. I kind of got double booked. I couldn't make it to the webinar. But we're going now, and we got about a half hour left. So at least we'll be able to cover some stuff in here, and look for some follow through in some of these moves if we can get that. So yeah, we'd look for a bounce in here, which it is doing. Okay, but this is a pretty big red candle on the hourly. I'm looking for a retest then. Back down to the lows, and then maybe we can, if we get that retest. Now what we want to understand on this hourly chart is, do we see sellers down here at 55? A lot of sellers. They will break the bottom and come back down into these lower levels in here. So now that's what we're looking for in terms of transactions. So let's zoom in here. And then let's cover the transactions. I don't see them yet. It's really back and forth. This is a nice little move here, totally upended back to the top of the range, and it's still kind of doing this back and forth in here, right? So now let's go through what it looks like here. Look at this area where the buyers came in. We're just testing it now. Okay, here's a scenario that we look for. If we can get a lot of sellers down here at this 57 level, likely we'll break and pull away, come back down not only into 55, but likely down lower into 50 or maybe even lower. All right, so don't see it yet, but that is one of the scenarios. And we're looking for, and we're just talking about transactions right now. We can just dim the heat map. We're just talking about transactions. Okay, we're looking for where traders are transacting. And we didn't get that scenario at all. In fact, look at the sellers down here, very few. And look at the buyers here. So actually, I'm looking for these buyers to retest back up here. Maybe they can get back up to 66 or so up here, right? If we get enough buyers in here. We're kind of, we bounced out of that area in here. And we look for that scenario. Which also is not really playing out. We see some buying in here, then it kind of just really tapers off, and some sellers. What I'm trying to get at here is look for these areas in here. Okay, we can see it. I can go through it again and again and again. Look at this. Back up above it and look at that. Okay, so this is an important level in here around 60. Okay, you can even see it bounce here and then trade through it. Okay, there's another one here, and now we're looking for the scenario of this. Okay, if we get our sellers here. All right, so that is a scenario. And do we see it unfolding? No, we don't. Not yet. It's just not ready. Okay, so in fact, we were going through another scenario. Maybe we're going to get big green dots up here, and they'll pull it back up to the top of the range. Okay, that is not played out either. None of these have. I'm still looking for the sellers here, and let's see if they can do it now. See how we're not getting any insight? It's just we're not going to get anything, and this is likely just going to break really quickly. And now you could jump in just like a market sell right now. This is not a trade recommendation. All right, I do need to make that sure that that is said. But ways to kind of catch this is what I'm trying to get at, is we don't have the insight until we see this selling at 57. Okay, and then now we have some insight. All right, so and now look at it here. These guys might, and I would be caught up in it as well. If we get buyers back up above, this is a false breakdown of our area. Okay, so they already retested it here. We still see sellers here, so I'm still looking for this to go lower. All right, now we're just talking about transactions and market structure here. All right, and we didn't know, and what I wanted to cover about why you could jump in here is because we didn't have insight earlier. We didn't really know. We don't see that scenario unfolding. We didn't see the big green dots up here. We didn't see the big red dots down here. We see the move down. We're at the bottom of the range. We're looking for our red dots. We're looking for them. Here they are. That's what I want to say. And this gives us some insight that we will likely go and retest into lower areas here. Okay, it has already. In fact, it's tested lows of the day here. All right, yeah. Now let's just we'll continue on here, and I want to talk a little bit about. Good morning, Jang. I just want to talk about some trade management in here. Because there's been some questions about that recently, and instead of just doing live analysis and whatnot, how do you actually make some money out of this in here? Trade management is a huge part, okay, and a lot of people don't talk about it very much. Risk reward and trade management. At this lower end in here, we kind of break it here. This is a good area. In this area in here, I like to get in front of it actually. And take some off. All right, I want to see the test down here. We may get follow through to the downside, but at least at this is a higher likelihood of a move to retest this previous swing here, and then we can consider managing the trade here by taking some off. Now, if you're trading a one lot or you're an all-in, all-out trader, get out. There's your trade. It's just a higher probability or a higher likelihood that it will come back down into this area and you can get out. Now, if you're more of a longer term trader, then you wouldn't be worried about this move back up, right? You're short, you're looking for shorts. That's it, right? So this is more of a pullback back to a structural area that we broke earlier, right? We just talked about this area breaking, and here it is retesting it back again. All right, so anyway, these are some trade management considerations, and then maybe your stop is at break even. Maybe you got stopped out here on the rest of it, but at least you gave it a shot to run, and you look for the next one. Lots of different ways of looking at it. All right, so I just want to make that clear. Now we've been looking at and going over this trade management idea here, or concept, or example, without the heat map, and that's not good. So we want the heat map. The heat map gives us a lot of insight. So down here, for example, is there high liquidity and did it transact? And there was some pretty high liquidity in here. They pulled it away from the market. It came back down. It did trade down here, and we see a beautiful stop run as well. Okay, into this liquidity down here, 53.5, 54. All right, and now look at this area here, guys. So this is again, same ideas that we were just covering and same concepts. This is our stop run down below here, and then looking for the buyers in here or above these areas in here, right? So we can go back to this line here at our 57.5. Do we see buyers back up above it? Now we're starting to get it. Yeah, so we may still get, and I don't like this one because I don't see a lot on the bid underneath here, right? So if anyone wants to sell and hit the bid really quickly and dump, they can right back down to here or back down into these lower areas, maybe 55. Okay, now if we had a scenario that we had these big green dots in here, they're bidding up underneath, they're pulling on the offer, then that would give us a much better feeling and understanding of the auction in here, that we come back up into 62 or maybe even higher, maybe 64, 65. Okay, so a lot of back and forth in here so far, right? And we're looking for it to move on this one. It didn't. It came back. It still may, though. Okay, our line here, looking for control above or below this area, is still unfolding. All right, that was a lot. So hopefully that was understandable. If not, I can go through it again in more detail. So we're trying to understand these specific levels and scenarios around them. Let's see, Mr. Green's. What do you make of the heavy selling near the lows, but no follow through on the bottoms? Yeah, stop runs, trap volume, etc. So this is it's a really good question, Mr. Green's. And let me talk a little bit about that in terms of pure price action. Okay, because, and let's just delete all of this. We know that our line was around 57. That was kind of a key one, and then another one up here at 60, right? And you can see it hasn't broken above 60. Now watch this though. If we do get our buyers up here above 60, and this is starting to kind of do it. We see pretty strong volume in here, but we got to get our follow through in here. I don't really like it. I do see them on the bid here at 59.5. I still don't really like it in here. Here's why, Mr. Greens. I'll answer your question. Is usually, typically, like we're just seeing this kind of back and forth activity above and below these swings or these little pivots that we're identifying here in the market. Who's taking control one way or the other? When we see a move and it moves away from a value area, it is significant, like up here, right? Look at the volume and look at the move here. Like these are sellers moving away from, and we don't have a really good kind of structure up here. It's not bad. Let me just get rid of all the volume, all the drawings here, and redraw it. So our kind of level is up here, right? You can look at it from here over, and it's all of this up here is a value area. Here's our profile showing our value area. This is where the most transacted was up here. Okay, so we know that level. Most transactions took place around there, around 86 or so. Look at the sellers at the bottom edge in here. Now look at the sellers driving it away in here. This is what we're looking for, and we're not looking for it just to transact down here and then come back in. It's just going to move away, and it's going to move away quickly. That's what we're looking for, and we're looking for strong, consistent selling all the way through. It actually was pretty strong and consistent from up here, so you could look for that to at least take some off at the bottom edge. You can even then even add to it. And again, like it's not a trade recommendation. Just consider your trade management. It's telling you something, and you can take advantage of that, right? And you could look for a move back down into, well, I would look for the first move down into this area here, and went back a little bit further down to the swing here around 65. I would also look for areas of high liquidity in here for it to test or transact into, and I see one here which is pretty good, and a few down here which are pretty good, and I would look for those areas. Now I would align that as well to look for this here. Okay, let's see. I look for what was the first area? Yeah, my first area was here, right? So let's just put a line in here. Okay, and now let's align that with high liquidity. Do I see high liquidity at the area that I'm interested for the market to come down and test? And I really don't here, but I see some here. So maybe I would exit some here, right? Maybe. And especially after, you know, I'd probably front run it here, and I see some buying in here. Yeah, maybe I would consider that. In fact, in here, like you can even make an argument for adding back into it. But anyway, what I'm trying to cover here is starting to understand the liquidity at specific areas, okay, that are important. Yeah, can I explain more about stop runs? Sure. So we have an indicator. It only works with CME group instruments. Hold on just a minute. Okay. It only works with CME group instruments, and you have to have rhythmic data. But if you have that combination, then and you have the stops and icebergs add-on indicator, that's sold on our Bookmap marketplace, then you can access stops and iceberg transactions. Stops are simply an order type. When you place, let's suppose you get in long the market, likely you put a take profit with a limit, sell order, and then you also have a sell stop order below. All right, so now you want your stop order to be a stop loss, a market stop loss, basically. So if that area is touched, it immediately executes, and with market sell order, right? It protects you, because if you use a limit at that area, it might go through that area and you never get filled. So that's pretty big risk. And that's why most people are using stop loss or stop market orders. We can read that transaction. Therefore, we can look at this data and start to understand that it's usually smaller players using stops because they don't have larger accounts. and it's better to get stopped out with a small loss and look for another high probability trade in your direction. Take that and just get in and out of the market. Larger players can't do that as easily. It's much more difficult. So a lot of times what they'll use is a limit. Well, they use limit orders, and they can hide some of those limit orders using icebergs. Okay, so a limit order would we see those here in the heat map. Okay, we know that these are likely larger players, like down here around this 46 level here, 47, no, 40, I'm sorry, 48 level, and up here at 65. So we also know that there was some pretty. Let's just zoom into this area because we do see some icebergs getting filled here. They're getting filled right here. It's because they're on the offer, right? And they're getting filled in here. All right, I know you didn't ask about the hidden orders, so we can go through the stops though. There's a stop run in here, right? And we'll go through the evolution of it. I'm just fascinated by it still. I just don't get tired of it. Here's this. We'll look at exactly what happened in here, and look at the stop run. Okay, a stop run is multiple levels. This is actually really not a stop run, because the stops. Well, I guess it is. But the stops only transacted here at the bottom of the range here. Okay, so here's what happened. Looks to me like a larger player came in here, hit market sell. They swept the order book through these areas of all this liquidity in here, and there might be stop orders in here. Your stop order could be up here. It could also be here. Whatever it is, whatever stop orders are in here, they transacted after this larger player's order transacted. Then the stops are filled, and 40 of them are here. And whoever was in here, they got slipped, and they may have put their stop loss up here at 61.5, but they're going to get filled here at 59 3/4. That's what happened. Yeah, we should, Tony. We should make a course, or a series of webinars just on understanding stops and icebergs, and then we can refer people to it. I agree. Yeah, guys, actually that's a good point. I want to show you something in here. We just launched this today. Really excited about it. So if we go to bookmap.com, okay, on our website, click on the more button here, and it's right up here, Learning Center. Okay, click on that. It'll take you to a new section in here. We have new videos on getting connected to Bookmap. Okay, this is getting connected to the platform. You can open this up into stocks and futures connections for Rhythmic, DXFeed, CQG, OmniFeed, etc. And then crypto exchanges down here, and there are many in here. Guys, we've been really wanting to put this together for a while, and really happy to do it. So you have these connection videos all here. You have a new course getting started in here, how to learn to use Bookmap. Click on this, okay, and there's the course here. Okay, so it is there's an introduction, there's adding symbols, chart navigation, displaying different elements, volume, heat map, columns. I need to add some more in here. Also the subchart and widget panel, and trading videos down here. So we have them all in here, guys. They're very short videos. So you find what you're looking for. You can search up here in the video search, and let's suppose you're just looking for volume dots. Here you go. very quickly. Volume.display, volume clustering, volume filtering, volume bars, etc. Cumulative volume delta. Okay, and then yeah, let's do that and see how this takes me right to that video here on volume.display. Okay, so very happy to release this to you guys. So again, to find this, you know, and play around with it, this is the first time that anyone's seen it. So yeah, click on the more button and it's in Learning Center here. Okay, we may change the name to Education, but it is Learning Center right now. And then also another way to go to it, just click on Education here. And then the link is down here, Learning Center. Click on that. That'll take you right to it as well. Okay. So Mr. Greens, you probably have a lot of questions on this stuff. There's the market mechanics course in here. This is our older course. It's 4 parts. You can very easily access them here though. Okay. You have the breadcrumbs there to go right back to these areas very quickly as well. Order flow phenomena videos in here. You'll see many. Okay, we had these are older as well on our YouTube channel, but we have them all centralized now. All right, we can go back here, the different add-ons. Go to the add-ons section in here. These are all the different add-ons that we have in Bookmap, and they're all centralized. The insights, go to Bookmap Insights here. That'll take you outside of the Learning Center and into the Bookmap Insights page here. To look at other people's analysis and trades. Just one more thing I want to go through in here. We're still, you know, adding to it and building it out, but it is released. You can see some of our educators in here, and then our calendar. Please go to our calendar. This is what really the central point here for all of the events. Okay, you'll see like for example today. Earlier today at 8:30 East Coast time, Rain was covering the crypto markets. Here, I'm going over the all markets here. And then right after this, in another 5 or 10 minutes, we have Tom B in the Traders Lab going through his volume profile. And then right after that, at 1 p.m. In Spanish, we have Frank Moreno going through the markets in Spanish, Spanglish trades, and then Doug with options is at 1:30, and then we also have the algo boys here rounding out the day until the close. All right, so you can click here and look at the next week as well. We have some great events here as well. You can see same kind of lineup in here, but we have a new streamer right here, Pirate Traders. All right, so they're going to be every Monday at 9 to 10 a.m. And then we also have here stocks with Fausto Pugliese or Puglisi is here on Monday. Okay, a pro trader webinar event. All right, so they're all here. You'll even see some Indian events up here very early in the morning, or the Indian market. All right. And then you do see some other links in here to some of the social media stuff as well. All right, so that's our new Learning Center. So have fun with that. Give us some feedback on that, please. Okay. Yeah, Wolf, we're pretty excited. We've been wanting to get that together for a while. Let's see, Mr. Greens, you have a DX feed. Yeah, if for CME, that's fine. There is a difference between DX feed and Rhythmic, though. The data is high quality for both. However, Rhythmic offers something rather unique that DX feed does not at this time, and that is the market by order data. And that allows us to see the stops and icebergs. Okay, you need to have Rhythmic. Now, but you also need to let me show you here. Okay, you also need to go to bookmap.com again. You need to go to the marketplace and purchase the add-on here. So it's under the more button, MBO bundle. Click on that. That'll take you to the marketplace here. And this is where you get MBO bundle and Trader Map Pro. It has the stops and icebergs in it. This is what you get down here. Okay, stops and icebergs, subchart, on chart, liquidity tracker pro, and Trader Map Pro. So you'll need that. That's $134 a month. Okay, if you are interested in getting stops and icebergs. Yeah, anyway, just a note and on this dynamic, guys, how many times have we seen this last week? It's kind of wicked stuff. We get a larger player dumping, clicking, or initiating some stops. Stops are filled, and then likely the same player likely is getting filled here on the offer after their move with 600 icebergs. Okay, that keeps the market from going back up. And actually it didn't. The best offer did sweep up higher here, but no one filled, or no transactions took place until here. And there's another stop run in here right after that. It's right in here. Okay, I'm curious if maybe this larger player is taking some stops. I really doubt it, but here's the evolution of this stop run. Okay, so we see the move up, and then we're seeing multiple stops on multiple levels here. Okay, stops traded or transacted on 60 and a quarter, a half, and 3/4 for 100 altogether. Okay, so yeah, that's another stop run. So some pretty wicked, fast moving action in here. That all took place literally. We're looking right at it here. In about a blink of a human eye. All right, this 200 milliseconds, and that's what this is between here, 11:13:48:000, 11:13:48:200. All of that activity that we just covered here, stop run, sweep of the order book by a larger player into high liquidity, stop run, an iceberg on the other side getting filled, and a small stop run or another stop run to the upside here, all took place very quickly within a blink of an eye. Okay, literally. Interesting stuff. Right? But now we can understand what's happening in these markets. Okay, the information, the data is there. All right, so what's happening here? Well, this has been quite the grind lower, and we were looking for the sellers to take control down here. They didn't, but we don't see a lot of buyer. We do see some buyers in here, but the structure held. So we're seeing now we're breaking the structure to the downside again, yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of selling down here yet. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of what's unfolding in this market. And let's just take a step back, look at our bigger picture again. We've still seen this move or momentum here to the downside, so that's what we're likely looking for. But we're looking for that move into kind of 50. I think we covered that on the daily chart. Yeah, right around here, around 48, 50, something like that. And it does align on our 15-minute chart on the right, our hourly chart here in the middle, and our daily. Okay, so we'll see if we get that follow through, but looking for something like that. All right, guys. Well, so I'm so sorry about being late. I could not make it. So at least we got something in here and got going. And thanks, Tony, for the suggestion on that. We should do that course on stops and icebergs exclusively. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Tom B starts, so you can jump over to that webinar if you like, and he'll go through volume profile and how he trades the market and reads order flow at his levels of profile. Okay, so yeah, please hit the like button, guys, before you go. That really helps us cover more and more education like this. It presents an argument and we really appreciate it, so that we can cover this information more for you if we know that it is working. All right, so yeah, please hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything and helps us. Okay. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. We'll wrap it up and call it a weekend. Have a good weekend, and we will catch up with you on Monday at 10 a.m. With the markets. Okay, thanks for coming. Bye bye.